This is another follow-up video, and what I was going to talk about in this one was some board voltages that are developed on the board. If you look up here on the screen, you'll see where I'm pointing right now the VSW voltage, whether it's 5 volts or 9 volts based on what sorter bridge you bridge between the outside pads and the center pad. If you bridge it this way, it's 5 volts. If you bridge it this way, it's 9 volts. Now, technically, I think that is just, well, I think it's actually these 3 pins. I could be wrong. It may just be VSW. Now down here it talks about the 9 volt rise to 12. This up here is 2 other solder pads that can be bridged, and we'll do the 9 volts rise to 12. There's just a little talking about that right here. 9 volt rise to 12. Okay, so I didn't measure these voltage with my multimeter. I have this little camera. We'll look back down at the table now. And I have a battery plugged into the now this is the H743 wing. And on the 743 wing, I bridge the 9 volt here, but I did not bridge the 9 volt to 12 volt rise up here. So we've got a battery powering the H743 wing, we got a video transmitter on it, and we got this little run cam. What is this? This is a run cam, Night Owl 2 Pro, little black and white camera. The reason I'm using it is when this camera is on, it can be set, and it is currently set to display the voltage it's being given on the screen in the bottom left hand corner. So if we turn this on right now, there we go, and there's the camera coming up on the screen. There it is. And if we look in the bottom left corner, we see 8.9 volts. This was the board I bridged the 9 volts and did not bridge the 9 to 12 volt rise. So there is that board. Now I'm going to switch over to, I'm going to power this down. I'm going to switch over to the 765 board real quick that I did solder the 9 volt to 12 volt rise on. And we'll just put this back right where it was, hopefully. And our video transmitter. That looks correct. Yep. Plug our battery back in. Okay. We should be ready to go back to our screen. I'll turn this on. And there's your voltage in your bottom left-hand corner, 10.9 volts. So it doesn't really rise from 9 volts to 12 volts on this board, does it? It goes up by 2 volts, 8.9 volts to 10. That's normal. If I'd left that at 5 volts, I would, if we go back over here to our little map, layout, if I had left this VSW solder pad at 5 volts, bridging these two pads here, I bet it would have been 4.5, 4.6 volts, something like that. Bridging it over here on the 9 volts, I would expect that to be 8.4 volts to 10 point something. It isn't always exact. And then I did expect when I bridged up here, which I did on this 765 board, the 9 volts to 12 volt rise. It didn't go all the way up by 3 volts. It went up by 2, but it is doing what I expected it to do. We go back and look at our screen right now. There it is. 10.9 volts. So that's, I did mention when I was doing the overall view of the boards that when I was soldering and stuff, that I wasn't quite sure which pins this would be affecting. But this let me test it with just a little camera that displays the voltage rather than my multimeter and all that complicated stuff. I think this pretty much follows up on everything I intended on following up on the 765 and 743 boards. Can't think of anything I haven't touched on that I promised. Thank you for watching.